For the past 5 years or so, Springfield, Ohio has been home to a community of Haitian immigrants. These immigrants have taken jobs in technical fields and factories. Some have opened restaurants or started other kinds of small businesses. They have revitalized the economy and culture of what for many years was widely regarded as a dying city. Obviously, the situation is not perfect. There exist tensions between the immigrant community and the long-term residents of Springfield, but according to local officials, local residents, immigrant and non-immigrant alike, these are the sorts of problems that you would expect could be peacefully and productively resolved given enough time. And the overall effect of the Haitian immigrants on the town of Springfield has been positive for pretty much anybody who isn't a racist with an axe to grind. Enter a racist with an axe to grind.
There was a lot of attention, as you know, this week on former President Trump's baseless claims about migrants eating pets in Springfield, Ohio, claims you first shared online, Senator, earlier this week. Local authorities now say there have been no credible reports of migrants hurting pets or animals. And in fact, neo-Nazis are now taking credit, frankly, for pushing these rumors mainstream. Why are you continuing to double and triple down on these baseless claims?
Well, two important points here, Kristen. First of all, I have heard firsthand from multiple constituents, people who made 911 calls a month ago, a year ago, who were making these complaints. I trust my constituents more than I do the American media that has shown no interest in what's happened in Springfield until we started sharing cat memes on the internet, which is disgraceful that the American media ignored this town. And that's the most important part.
And yet, Senator, officials, the mayor, other local officials have said there's just no evidence of what you're saying, that it's baseless, those claims. Can't you just make your argument about immigration without making those claims, Senator? Why not just make an argument about immigration? Why do you have to delve into repeating these baseless claims that, again, Senator, have been repeated by neo-Nazis?
Kristen, I hear you saying that they're baseless, but I'm not repeating them because I invented them out of thin air. I'm repeating them because my constituents are saying these things are happening. I mean,
but
just
no
yesterday,
evidence.
A video came out of a migrant 30 miles away eating a cat. Clearly, these rumors are out there because constituents are seeing it with their own eyes, and some of them are talking about it.
Senator, I have to say, though, that the mayor from Dayton in that video that you're talking about and police chief responded forcefully to that new video you just referenced. They say there's absolutely no evidence to even remotely suggest that immigrants are eating pets.
There's one particular detail of this story that I've heard mentioned a time or two, but has not really been the focal point of the coverage of the fear-mongering and racism and xenophobia being directed at the Haitian community of Springfield, Ohio. And I wanted to take a few minutes and really focus on it here because I think it speaks to the broader Republican view of immigration and specifically the Trumpian view of immigration and why it's even scarier and even more dangerous than it first appears to be when you listen to people like J.D. Vance or Donald Trump rant and rave and lie and demonize immigrants. The Haitian community in Springfield is composed almost entirely of legal immigrants. The line from Republicans for many, many years, especially since Trump first became a national figure, has been, we're only anti-illegal immigration. We don't have a problem with legal immigrants. It's the undocumented immigrants. It's the illegals that we have a problem with. If people want to come to this country, why, they're more than welcome. This is America. This is the melting pot. Just do it legally. It's not fair to the people who did it legally when these people come over the border without permission. We just want orderly, legal immigration. That has been their argument for years and years and years. The targets of this week of concentrated verbal attacks and vilification and demagoguery, the Haitian community of Springfield, Ohio, that has been wrongly and falsely attacked as a threat to people's pets, as eating geese out of the park, as spreading disease. Immigrants spreading disease. There's a two-word phrase to describe that: Nazi shit. The Haitian immigrants that have been the targets of all of that are legal immigrants. And the reason I underline that and bring that to your attention is to point out that it was never about undocumented immigration for the Republicans. That was just a cover. That was just their plausible deniability. That was just their way of introducing this, of bringing this to the mainstream and normalizing anti-immigrant sentiment, sneaking it in by saying, we're not talking about all immigrants. We're talking about illegal immigrants. We're talking about undocumented immigrants. We're talking about the millions and millions and millions of people who are sneaking across the border, and we have no idea who they are, and we have no idea where they're going and what they're doing and why they're here, and they could be drug dealers, and they could be human traffickers, and they could be rapists and killers, and that's what we're worried about? Really? Then what's with all the rhetoric against the Haitian community in Springfield? The legally settled Haitian community in Springfield, the community of immigrants who came here, who did everything right, who did everything you're supposed to do, everything Republicans say if immigrants do, they got no problem. They came here in an orderly way, a legal way. They were settled by the government. They're on work visas, they're on travel visas, they're part of a resettlement program that was organized and run by the federal government. They didn't sneak in. We know who they are, we know where they are, we know why they're here, we know what they're doing. And one of the things they're doing is saving this dying town. But I think we all know what's really going on here. They're the wrong kind of immigrants. They're the wrong color. They speak with the wrong sounding kind of accent. They're the wrong kind of immigrants for Republicans. They're the wrong kind of immigrants for people like J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. J.D. Vance tells Kristen Welker in that Meet the Press clip that I played for you, well, I didn't make these charges up. This business about eating cats and dogs and spreading disease, that's not me. I'm just listening to my constituents. Which constituents do you think he's listening to? Did you catch the part in that video clip where she said that a lot of these lies, a lot of these completely made up charges against Haitian immigrants in Springfield originated from neo-Nazi groups? Neo-Nazis in the community, neo-Nazis who live there, neo-Nazis who are Senator J.D. Vance's constituents. Which constituents is he listening to? He's not listening to the ones who are trying to tell him and everybody else who will listen that there's nothing to this. The local officials in the town who are saying there's no evidence that any of these things are happening. There's no evidence that they're contributing to a higher crime rate. Immigrants, as a rule, do not contribute to higher crime rates, period. Immigrant communities, generally speaking, are less likely to be committing crimes than non-immigrants, than people who were born here. Higher rates of disease, eating people's cats and dogs. There's no evidence to substantiate any of this. It's completely fabricated. And people in Springfield, people who are among J.D. Vance's constituency as a United States Senator from the state of Ohio, are saying this, are telling him this. I can't imagine there haven't been at least a few phone calls or emails to J.D. Vance's office at the United States Senate from people in Ohio saying, Senator, you're completely off base on this. There's no evidence to substantiate any of this. He's not listening to those constituents, is he? Why are they doing this? Why are they saying these anti-immigration things? Because they're racists, because they're bigots, they're xenophobes, they're white supremacists, they are white nationalists. Yes, that is true, and that is a big reason why they're saying it and doing it. They are philosophically committed to it. They genuinely believe that immigration, especially non-white immigration, is a bad thing and a threat, and they want to block as many non-white immigrants, documented or undocumented, as possible from coming in, and ideally they want to eject as many non-white immigrants from the country as they possibly can. But there's another really important reason why they're doing it, why they are leading with this, why they are leaning so hard into anti-immigrant rhetoric and lies and demonization now in the home stretch running into the election. And it's because it's all they have. They can't make any other case to the American people. All they have are lies and racism and fear-mongering. They can't run on their economic policy because their economic policy is cut taxes for the wealthy. And even a lot of right-wing working-class people, if they heard that, if Donald Trump just came on TV and just said, I'm going to cut taxes for rich people, that's not a very appealing message. So they can't lead with that. They'll sneak it in. They'll find some way to refer to it obliquely, but they're not just going to come out and say, vote for us. Our economic policy is the thing that Reagan tried 40 years ago that didn't work. We're going to cut taxes even more on the wealthiest people. That's not going to fly. They can't make that case. The only thing that Republicans like J.D. Vance and Donald Trump can do is spread fear and hatred and give people someone else to blame for their problems. And what better group to blame for your problems than the people that just got here? The newcomers. They're the problem. Why is crime going up, even though it's not? It's the newcomers. It's the new people. Why is everything different than it used to be? Why do you feel like your country doesn't belong to you anymore? Why is everything going down the toilet? So we say. Who's to blame for your problems? It's certainly not you, and it's definitely not us. It's them. It's those people over there who just got here. It's the new people. It's the immigrants. It's the people who are a different color than you are. It's the people who practice a different religion than you do. It's the people who grew up speaking a different language than you spoke, and now they try to speak English, but they speak it with a funny accent that's really hard to understand. It's their fault. They're bringing these problems here. They're infecting our country. They're infesting our country. This is the rhetoric that Donald Trump himself has used. And I already referenced this term earlier. I apologize for repeating myself so soon, but it's Nazi shit. Referring to immigrants as animals, referring to immigrants as insects, referring to immigrants as an infestation. Legal immigrants who have a right to be here. This is who they are. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Stephen Miller, all of these people who are pushing this rhetoric, who are pushing this anti-immigrant, fear-mongering, dangerous lie that has already resulted in bomb threats and threats of violence and Nazis marching in the streets in Springfield, that has already empowered the worst elements of our society. This is who they are. And the reason they're saying this, at least a big part of the reason they're saying this, the reason that they're pushing this so hard and refusing to apologize and doubling and tripling down on it, as J.D. Vance did on TV over the weekend, is because this is who they think you are. Or at least, this is who they think enough of you are, that this will win them the election. They think they can ride this wave of xenophobia back to the White House. This is who they think you are. So on November 5th, you have a chance, we all have a chance, to show them who we are. And I really hope that that's exactly what we do. We show them who we are by voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and for Democrats all the way down the ballot, for your senator, for your member of Congress, for your local offices. Democrat, from the top of the ballot to the bottom of the ballot. Show them who you are. Show them you reject who they are, and that you will not be represented by that kind of hatred and dishonesty and xenophobia and recklessness and irresponsibility. They've shown you who they are. November 5th, Election Day. Show them who we are.